Now, we have all fall short of the glory of the Most High. I say it all over and over again. Christ died while we were yet sinners. He died for the sinners. A matter of fact, when the majority of us received the truth, we were in sin. But the Lord shined his grace on us nonetheless. A lot of what we're about to teach today, some of it we touch on in detail in the academy. So if you haven't been in the academy, you probably want to get in it because there's a lot of key information you can only get in a school setting. If you want to get into our Hebrew and Bible Academy, hey, send an email and make sure you're in our classes. You need to learn the doctrine, right? Let's go to Hebrews 9:27 real quick. Now, for those who don't believe in hell or believe parts of the Bible and believe that things are allegories and not true and all that, or just parables, and believe that everything like the Bible is just metaphors, you may not want to chime into this. Okay. You may want to turn it off and go someplace else. We're not dealing with the Bible metaphorically. Okay. That means it's subject to private interpretation. It's subjected to how I view it and want to use it as a metaphor and apply it according to how I feel it should be applied. The Bible is literal. And you learn the fear of the Most High by understanding it literally. If it's metaphorically, it goes into philosophizing. So that's why most people are sinning and falling short and don't care. Yes, they're unrepentant. Why? Because they were told there is no judgment. There is no hell. They was taught to deal with the Bible metaphorically or philosophize and choose the parts that suits them. No, the Bible is literal. Okay? Christ was a literal man who came to die for a literal people. Okay? Hebrews 9:27. Let's go.
Yes, sir. Hebrews 9:27. And as it is appointed unto men once to die.
As it is appointed unto men once to die.
But after this, the judgment.
But after this, the judgment. Okay? Here's the reality of the matter. Okay? The reality of the matter is that we were all born in this earth and have life. That's the good part. Well, the eventual part is that through our father and mother, Adam and Eve, sin and partaking in the tree of good and evil, they brought forth something new within the earth called death, which is an eventual judgment. It's part of a judgment, which means just like life, it feels good. We can live, we can breathe, we can make choices. Well, the eventual thing about this life, brothers and sisters, is death. Okay? They need to sink in. Okay? That's an eventual. Death is a reality. Okay? When you go past a graveyard, when you go to a funeral, whatever the case might be, when we do this, all of those people that were in that cemetery had life, had choices, okay? Had dreams, ideas. They were just like you, okay? And we can't think death away. It's a reality. It's a serious reality, okay? It's just as real as life. Okay, I need y'all to really understand this. Okay, death is instant. We're here today, okay, and have no idea that we'll be called into judgment tomorrow. That's the reality. We only have today. We only have this moment. That's the reality. That's what the Most High would like you to understand. And as it is appointed unto man once to die, read.
But after this, the judgment.
But after this life, there's a judgment. where we'll all stand before the Most High. I'm going to talk about that judgment in a moment. No one escapes this, brothers and sisters. Doesn't matter what you believe, what you think. Okay. The Lord is not going to compartmentalize himself into your idea of what you think he is. Okay. He's not going to be satisfied based on how you feel he should be satisfied, or you should satisfy his law. It doesn't work that way. We must find him and follow him. That cut and dry. It's just that cut and dry. And as it appointed unto men once to die, and after this, what?
The judgment.
The judgment, read.
Verse 28. So Christ was once offered to bear the sins of many, and unto them that look for him shall he appear the second time.
The how many times?
The second time.
Come on.
Without sin unto salvation.
Without sin unto salvation. It is appointed unto man once to die. Then the judgment. Read it again.
So Christ was once offered.
Once.
To bear the sins of many.
So there is no reincarnation, brothers and sisters. There's no reincarnation. You don't get like they teach in what you would call Zoroastrian teachings, Persian mythology, Buddhist teachings, that you keep coming back until you realize your mistakes from one life to the next. And eventually you'll have the life, you understand, after coming back, a new creature, that you'll eventually get it down the line. That's a lie. Okay, that was a lie that was introduced in the earth by Satan. There's no reincarnation. Okay, according to the Bible, this is all the life we have. You get one of these. Usually if one believes that he can come back over and over and over again, well, this is the life where he do what? He or she does what? As they will.
Mm-hmm.
If I can listen, if I know I got about 3-4 more of these, I might as well just wear this one out. Right? It minimizes the fear of the Most High when you believe in reincarnation. It takes away that fear and judgment because you believe that the Most High love you so much. You're so special that you're just going to just disobey him. And he'll still let you by and bring you back in the earth and say, son or daughter, try this again. Not according to the word. Once to die. And after this, the judgment. And it's important that is actually branded in your spiritual psyche here. Right? That judgment was made for a purpose. Okay? That judgment, that hell, that torment, that standing before the Most High in judgment was made for a particular judgment in the beginning. We're going to go into it. Let's go to the book of Jude 1:14. Now you notice I'm going actually into the New Testament. Okay. Into the books of our disciples, the disciples of Christ. You notice this. Because they had insight on judgment. And what's wrong amongst our people? What's wrong amongst us? There is no judgment. There's no accountability. See? There is no righteous judgment amongst God's people. We can always explain things off or make an excuse and not be accountable for sins of what we've done wrong. Okay? Either we get this together here or, you'll see the Father with this. And if you're used to making excuses, what happens when you're standing before the Most High and can't utter a word? The excuses can work for man. You can always explain a reason why you don't want to be right, or you don't want to forgive, or you don't want to say I'm sorry, or don't want to point out your fault as if you're greater than everyone else, as if you're sinless or faultless. Right? So the disciples broke these things down. Let's go to the book of Jude real quick.
Yes, sir.
The 14th verse. Let's read it.
Jude, verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying.
And Enoch prophesied of these. He prophesied of what? We're giving you the reason hell was made from the beginning. Jude prophesied of a judgment. Right? Go up to the 6th verse, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. Verse 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate.
And the angels which kept not their first estate. Okay? We're not speaking in metaphors. We're not speaking in parable. We're not speaking in allegory. Okay? Some people would like to metaphorically look at this scripture and try to break it down and make it something else. This is speaking of angels here. Angels were the first sons of God in the heavenly realm during creation. They still exist. Okay? They're the powers under the Most High God on the outside of our realm. You look up in the sky, when you look into the firmament, the stars, you're looking at angels. Okay? They're operating in their course, ordered by the Creator. There is no such thing as aliens. Okay? What this earth deem or call gods in legend are angels. Okay? Sons of God. Read it.
Jude chapter 1, verse 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate.
And the angels which kept not their first estate.
But left their own habitation.
That left their own habitation.
He have reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
Now, this is what's taught out there for those who don't believe in hell or don't believe what really happened before the flood. They will tell you that the angels which kept not their first estate are the Israelites who fell from their lofty positions and are now sitting in darkness and captivity. Okay? That's one of the lowest base, what you would call juvenile teachings on earth. Okay? It's not deep at all. It's actually false doctrine. The Bible says this is angels. We say they're angels. We don't metaphorically explain it off to ignore a judgment or hell. Okay, well, if those are not angels, if I can say they're not angels, now I can say that the place that the angels are bound don't exist. So if I can metaphorically change these angels to us, I can say that hell is a condition where we live. See? Heaven is a condition where we live. But when you look out of the firmament, it tells you in the book of Genesis that when we look out beyond the firmament, which is outside our ozone layer, that's heaven. It tells you that in Genesis, the 1st chapter. That heaven is when you look outside the firmament. So heaven is not a condition. Hell is not a condition. Heaven is where the Most High reside with his heavenly angels. And hell is the place in the center of the earth made for judgment. Doesn't matter whether or not you believe it. Eventually, you'll get a chance to see it. Doesn't matter if you believe it. Eventually, you will know it exists. Eventually. So I'm beyond the point of arguing on base levels concerning the reality, the truth concerning scriptures. I'm not going to argue with someone or go back and forth with someone if they look at the word angel and want to make it something else. If they're looking at the word hell and want to make it something else. You know what they're doing? They're excusing the judgment because why? If they deal with the reality that hell exists and that they don't get more chances, they would actually have to repent and change their ways and think twice about getting things right or doing things right on this side, knowing what's coming. Okay? They'll actually have to really take inventory of how they view life and death. And that's why Jude was talking about this. Why? Because the same arrogance and disobedience that started from the heavenly realm has entered us. Okay? Them fallen angels who disobeyed the Most High, all powerful, became proud. And that same spirit has entered us, where we believe that no judgment can come near us, that nothing can happen to us. And out of all people, the Most High is going to make an exception for us because we're special. Read it again, Elder Lawyer.
Yes, sir. The book of Jude, verse 6. And the angels which kept not their first estate,
come on,
but left their own habitation, he have reserved in everlasting chains under darkness unto the judgment of the great day.
Unto the judgment of the great day. Okay. There in hell, the angels were bound who taught man evil before the flood. Okay. They're in chambers under the earth, suffering a judgment. Okay. That's what hell is. They're bound in prison under the earth until the judgment. All right. Now we can easily explain off scenarios and situations that the History Channel have question marks behind from week to week. Okay. We don't have to wonder, did gods enter the earth? Did gods do this or did gods do that? We don't have to question what's going on with the Great Pyramids. We know about the Great Pyramids. They're a gate to hell. We know why all of the so-called elite powers go to Stonehenge and go to the pyramids to worship. We know the God they are worshiping who's bound there. We know the gods that's over Islam. We know the gods that's over Persian mythology. We know the gods that's over the Roman Catholic Church. Okay, the Most High revealed it all. The judgment starts with them first because why? They're our senior in creation. They were created before man and disobeyed. So the judgment is not just for us, for following them. The judgment is for them, those sons of God, first. So the Most High wants us to examine what happened in the heavens and learn from them. When I say learn from them, not their evil ways, use this as a teaching moment to say, well, okay, this is what God do to those who disobey his command and don't appreciate his love and don't appreciate what he's done for you, which is what gave you an essence of himself. The great I am is who he is. He's all in all. Okay. He gave us life out of himself. And he show you what happens when we don't appreciate that essence, that life, that love he has for us. When we scorn and turn on him, he gave those fallen angels as an example for us. Okay, so if you ignore all that happened, then where's the learning? Where's the learning that comes from the things that happened before the flood? Stick with me here. It tell you the angels that sinned. The angels who left their habitation, their first estate. They're where?
But left their habitation, he have reserved in everlasting chains under darkness.
Under darkness.
Unto the judgment of the great day.
Unto the judgment of the great day. The great day is the judgment of the Lord. Okay? So we're not the only ones on earth who will be judged. Those that fell before us will be judged. As a matter of fact, their judgment was written before ours. Okay? Let's read it. Let's go back down to Jude.
Verse 14.
Because it tell you Enoch prophesied of these. Go on.
Jude, verse 14. And Enoch also, the seventh from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000s of his saints, to execute judgment upon all, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and of all their hard speeches which ungodly sinners have spoken against him.
This is quote unquote from the book of Enoch. Okay, Enoch chapter 1 verse 9 is what Jude, a disciple of Christ, is quoting verbatim. So Enoch left a testimony, right? So there's more records outside of just our 66 books within the Bible and the 14 within the Apocrypha. Our forefathers had all these records and didn't have a Roman Catholic Church, the fourth beast, canonizing and as an authority teaching us, God's people, what we should or should not read. We were supposed to look to the disciples for what was correct. And the book of Enoch that was found in the Qumran caves is 100% correct. Okay. That doesn't matter. You have other people out there who would go in and try to find little things to try to prove it wrong. But here's the problem. You're doing no different than what Muslims do when they grab the Bible, trying to find little parts and try to find contradictions because they don't believe in it. The whole deal is this. When it comes to the book of Enoch, if it is correct, then you have to change your doctrine. Okay? The same way a Muslim, if he realized the Bible is correct, he has to change his doctrine and renounce Islam. Okay? So that's what don't try to go into the book and find contradictions if you don't believe in it, because you're going to find contradictions. That's what you're looking for. Wisdom is known of her children. A man of wisdom or a woman of wisdom understand wisdom when they read it. Okay, with the proper perspective. All right. Now, I'm going to the book of Enoch real quick. Speaking of hell, the 54th chapter, 1 through 6.
Yes, sir. And I looked and turned to another part of the earth.
Now, for those who are fairly new and don't know who Enoch was, Enoch was a righteous judge before the flood. Okay. When you read Genesis 6, where the Most High say the sons of God came down and dealt with the daughters of men and brought forth giants or Nephilim during the days of Jared. Well, because of this, the Most High had to make Noah make the ark. There was a celestial, which is an angelic intervention with people that brought forth hybrids outside of the Most High's creation. That's where you get your dinosaurs and all these things. They began to mix birds with land creatures, amphibious creatures with beasts. All of that came from crossbreeding, cross-splicing before the flood. This was taught by fallen angels. Enoch was the righteous during that time. He was a priest of the Most High God before the flood. Okay? So, since this happened during his time or a little after his time, once the evil came to its height, The Most High translated Enoch. What does that mean? He did not see death. The same way what? Elijah, the prophet, was translated, where he was taken directly into heaven without seeing death so that he could be utilized for a specific purpose. Okay? The whole point of it was to do what? To have Enoch, being a righteous judge, to come down and speak to those angels who came down on Mount Hermon and give them the judgment. Okay? To tell them what will befall them for their disobedience and coming to this earth and disobeying the Most High. Enoch had a testimony according to the Bible. Right? Now, you may ask, well, why is this important? Yeshua, or whom some say his name is Jesus, even though there was no J's back then, but for the sake of edifying, Jesus said, like in the days of Noah, then shall the coming of the Son of Man be. Well, how would you know the signs of Christ's coming if you don't know in specific what was going on in the days of Noah? See? So they purposely hid Enoch's teachings and put out some false Enoch records also to try to sully the original book of Enoch. So that now people are going through all the different books and say, this contradicts this, which Enoch is right. There's only one book of Enoch that's translated directly from the Qumran caves. And that's the book that was translated by R.H. Charles, which what? Wasn't his own words. He just translated what was found in the caves from its original language into our language, English. Let's go to the book of Enoch real quick. 54, 1 and 6. And all what I'm reading here fits flawlessly in precept with the Bible. Mm-hmm. Flawlessly. Let's read it. Enoch 54, 1 through 6. Let's go.
The book of Enoch, chapter 54, verse 1. And I looked and turned to another part of the earth and saw there a deep valley with burning fire. And they brought the kings and the mighty and began to cast them into this deep valley. And there my eyes saw how they made their instruments, their instruments, iron chains of immeasurable weight. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, saying, for whom are these chains being prepared?
So Enoch seen, the Most High showed him hell when he was translated. And he says, well, who are these chains being prepared for? Before the Most High. He says, who are these chains being prepared for? Don't forget, the Bible tells us in the book of Jude, right? That they're being prepared, right? Being held in darkness and hell, mm-hmm. Right? It tell you in the book of Revelations 20 that a great angel came down and bound Satan with chains for 1,000 years. The first angel that led the revolt in the heavenly realm by the name of Lucifer. Okay? Go on.
Mm-hmm. If you don't mind, I'll read verse 6 again in Jude.
Yes, read it.
And the angels which kept not their first estate.
And the angels kept not their first estate.
But left their own habitation. He have reserved in everlasting chains.
In everlasting chains. Now, when you go into Enoch, it's now going into specific the angels that were bound in the beginning in chains. Okay. Now, of course, the Gentiles have made these fallen angels into what? Angels or gods to be reverenced, or legends. They've made legends of these people, of these fallen angels in the earth, right? Who were kings over the earth during that time. Like, for instance, a lot of you heard of the Egyptian Osiris, right? Now, you know, all in the pyramids, there's archaeological proof of man giving substance to giants sitting on thrones. That's all in the pyramids. Okay. Well, Osiris is the angel that's bound in the desert Dudael. Okay? The Great Pyramids are actually steps or doorways into the hell region. Even the Egyptians knows this. And who's bound under a jagged rock under the Great Pyramid? Osiris. Enoch identify his original name, not his Egyptian name, but his original name is what? Azazel. That's Osiris. The Egyptian god Osiris is the angel that was bound, who they ascribe to all the knowledge that they have received. Because when they came down, they taught these angels, these fallen ones, taught mankind warfare, all of that. Technology, all of this came through them. See? All of this, even war, came through them. Not teaching people to live in harmony, but how to take advantage and hurt others and enslave others. Okay? These are the things the angels taught. So when you hear of Osiris in Egypt, go to Enoch and read about Azazel. That's who he was. That's his fallen. He was a fallen angel who fell to this earth and became the Egyptian god Osiris. But his name is Azazel. Okay? Come on.
Enoch 54, verse 3.
Yes.
And there mine eyes saw how they made these instruments, iron chains of immeasurable weight. And I asked the angel of peace who went with me, for whom are these chains being prepared?
Come on.
Verse 5. And he said unto me, these are being prepared for the host of Azazel, so that all they that take them and cast them into the abyss of complete condemnation, and they shall cover their jaws with rough stones, as the Lord of spirits commanded. And Michael and Gabriel and Raphael and Phanuel shall take hold of them on that great day, and cast them on that day into the burning furnace, that the Lord of spirits may take vengeance on them for their unrighteousness, and becoming subject to Satan, and leading astray those who dwell on the earth.
And leading astray those that what?
That dwell on the earth.
That dwell on the earth. So there's a judgment for them deceiving mankind by giving mankind what? Certain knowledge. But the knowledge was given to us so that we could destroy ourselves. It's good at first because it seems like it's benefiting us. But at the end of the day, the knowledge was used to kill off mankind. To have it where we fight against each other and war against each other and hate each other. The technology seems good because we're using it, but look at what it's doing to us. See? It's desocializing us. It's making us where we don't even care about God's people, our own, God's creation. Right? So they were bound. There was a judgment. So I don't got to ask questions about who built the pyramids and this, that, and the other. Nah, I know who built the pyramids. Okay? The book of Enoch tell you who did it and why they were built. And there's a time stamp of judgment based on a 364-day cycle in the Great Pyramid Sphinx. Okay? Give you a timeline in the Great Pyramid. And the timeline, even have the timeline of Christ's birth, Moses given the law. Everything you read in Enoch is actually a timestamp within the pyramid itself. Because why? There was a timeline on the angels that were bound for their disobedience. And it was written in the hieroglyphics. Okay? There's a timestamp throughout. And not only that, there's even proof that the pyramids were pre-flood, because they show you areas where the water receded off of it. So when they claim that the Israelites built certain pyramids and all that, Israelites were building certain cities outside of the Great Pyramid Sphinx. But there's nowhere in the Bible does it tell you that Israelites built the pyramid. Okay? The pyramids were built by who they call gods. We're telling you the purposes of why they were built, the jagged rocks. They are like sundials. Why? Because it's a time stamp. It's actually a time of judgment on those that went against the Lord our God. Okay? Mankind could not have built anything like that. And how do we know this? We have greater tools and technology now in this earth today than thousands of years ago. And no one today can build a pyramid. With all the great technology we claim to have in this earth, no one can build one. Why? Because man didn't build it. We're telling you why it was built, brothers and sisters. It's a judgment. It's a gate to hell. Okay? It's 4 regions in the earth that leads to this place. Okay? We're going to go into it. So when we pass over, when we're no longer subject to this physical realm and we're in the hands of the Most High, guess what? We have to go through a gate or go through a place spiritually to be judged. We have to go to a region to be judged based on whether or not we were righteous and did the right things according to the Most High, or whether or not we scorned the Most High or ignored his law. Either way, the region's there for judgment. Okay? So there's no surprise when you look at ancient legends of the Romans and others, they would say, well, listen, you know, when they would die or have funerals and they would bury the dead, they would say, well, listen, put coins over their eyes so that they can walk in the underworld with their fathers. They were preparing themselves to go into the underworld with their fathers, knowing their bloodline was connected to the fallen ones. It's not mythology, brothers and sisters. Guess what? Fiction is truer than life. The life they gave us is an alternate reality. Everything else that they claim is myth is really what's going on. They created these cities and gave us television and did what? Placed us in an alternate reality so that we would think that this life we're living and how we're living is the true life.